All right, I'm gonna share a story with you guys, and I promise you stay with me, it's gonna make sense. All right. So this morning, start off to the day, wife's out of town. I'm like, cool, I gotta go ahead and do this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and get the kids dressed. I'm gonna iron the clothes, make sure everyone's ready, wash your face, brush your teeth, all those things, fix lunches, on and on and on. Okay, so I'm pumped for the day. We get out the house, drop the kids off. I go to the gym. Exercise at the gym, get back in the car. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go ahead and get some gas for the car, right? It's like, cool. Go to the gas station, pull up to pump five, hop out, go to the attendant, pay my money, come back out, start pumping gas. So as I'm pumping gas, I'm like, oh my goodness, let me go and do my affirmations. I want to start my day off right. I want to have some affirmations, write down some power statements, all these cool things, right? I want to become a better person. Okay. So I'm doing all this and I'm repeating my power statements to myself, and the pump says, boom, it's done. So cool. I go ahead and put the nozzle back on the gas pump. I hop in the car, turn the car on, and I look down to see how many miles I have, right? And it says 10 miles to E, 10 miles to empty. All right. I'm like, what the heck? This can't be right. So I turn the car off, turn the car back on, look down, and it still says 10 miles to E. So I thought to myself, okay, let me give it some more time. I'm going to sit here a little bit, give it some time, let it maybe, I don't know, reset, whatever. And so I'm waiting about 2 or 3 minutes and nothing changes. Like literally nothing changes. So at this point, I'm concerned. So I turn the car off, go around to the gas tank, open it back up, untwist it, blah, blah, and I stick my finger into the gas tank, right? Stick my finger into the gas tank and then try to feel if there's any residue of actual gasoline. My finger comes out and it is completely dry, like bone dry, okay? So now I'm really concerned. I look at the pump, I look at my finger, I then go back inside my car and look at my indicator, and it still says 10 miles to E. So at this point, there's a guy who's in pump four who's like diagonal from me, older guy. He's pumping his gas. And I said, hey, I'm not sure if your pump is going well, but mine, for some reason, is telling me that it pumped the gas, but my car is saying that it hasn't received any gas at all. He said, what? I said, yeah. So I explained it to him. He said, man, that's crazy. I said, yeah, so, when you get your car, just kind of, turn it on a little bit to see if it, if all is well on your end. He said, man, I really appreciate you letting me know. I'll definitely look into it when I get done. I said, cool, no problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the gas attendant and talk to her to see what might be going on. So I go into the gas station in the convenience area. I'm waiting, and she calls me up. I said, hey, I was pumping gas, but my car says that no gas was actually put inside the car. And so frantically, the lady says, what, are you serious? No way. No, are you serious? I said, yeah, that's just what it shows. I can't believe that. I said, well, me either, but that's what it shows. She says, well, go out and stand at the pump. I'll be there in a few minutes. All right. I said, cool. So as I'm walking out, I see to the corner, there's another guy sitting in the corner, and it just so happened to be one of the guys that my son practices on their basketball team. So I was like, oh, okay, hey, so we said, hey, how you doing? That kind of thing, right? So I go and stand by the pump, and I'm waiting, writing my affirmations still, trying to keep a positive attitude, right? I want to be a better person. I want to change who I am, I want to be a person though that leads with power, person that continues to have fortitude of integrity, right? All these cool things, right? That I write down in my notepad. Okay. So the gentleman who was on pump four, he says, hey, young blood, it's an older guy. He says, hey, young blood, just let you know, everything good on my end. So, man, I hope all is well for you. I said, hey, I appreciate that. I'm happy that things worked out for you. And so he goes in and he walks backwards like this, and he drives off. He sits down and drives off in his car. So a few moments later, a lady pulls up to pump six. So she and I are sharing the same bay, right? And so she's on the other side of the pump that I'm on. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to say anything to this lady who's showing up because for all I know, maybe it's just something wrong with, you know, what's in this area, right? Maybe it's something wrong with me. That's what I thought. It's like maybe me, maybe it's me, right? Maybe it's something wrong with my pump, my nozzle, right? So I didn't say anything to her. So she begins to pump her gas, and she goes inside, pays or whatever, and so she's pumping, and then I start hearing this noise of boom, 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 as if she's trying to get more gas into her vehicle, right? And I said, hey, I explained what happened to me. And I said, I'm not sure that's the same for you, but that's what's happening to me. She said, oh my gosh, thank you so much for letting me know. I was concerned because it just stopped at $12. I don't know why it stopped at $12, right? She goes in the whole thing. I said, hey, no problem. I'm waiting for the lady to come out, but that's what I had an issue. She says, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Because I was trying to figure out what was going on with mine. I said, okay, okay, cool. So she goes and she walks inside, right? Then she walks back out to her car. Another lady walks out, and then they both get in the car together and they drive off. So I don't even know what that was about. I don't know what happened. So now I'm really like, what is going on here, right? Because I don't know if her problem was resolved or if it was even a problem, right? I have no idea what's going on. So so then I'm like, okay, well, all right, focus, Leland. Go ahead and mind your business. So then I go back to my notepad, writing my affirmations, reading them, that kind of thing, right? So then the gas attendant lady comes out. She's an older lady, and she says, now you say you're not getting any gas? I said, no, ma'am, I'm not getting any gas. Are you sure? I said, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I said, but follow me, and I'm gonna turn my car on. You can actually look to see for yourself what it says. She says, okay. So we go, open the car door. I'm sitting out, we're both sitting outside the car. I lean in, I turn the car on, and lo and behold, it reads 10 miles to E. Now, immediately, for some reason, at that exact moment, I was so embarrassed. I said, oh my gosh, this lady knows that I waited until I was 10 miles from E to come to the gas station. I feel so ashamed. And then a few moments went by, and I thought to myself, well, Leland, if you are actually at 10 miles to E, what better place should you be at than the gas station? I was like, yeah, that's right. This is where I should be, right? So what's so crazy about that, this real quick thing is that I actually had in that exact moment, I was ashamed for one, the position of the gas tank at that moment, two, ashamed for quote for actually standing up for myself, okay? And three, ashamed for actually being at the place that I needed to be to actually get the help that I needed to get the help at. All right. That's lesson number one in this. So that was very, very odd for me. Now, keep in mind this entire morning, particularly at the gas station, I am writing these affirmations, writing these statements, saying that I want to be a better person. Okay. But the story continues, the saga continues. All right. So then here's what happens next. The lady says, oh my gosh, that is so weird. I know that you pumped X amount of dollars, right? I know you pumped, let's say $40 into the tank. I'm not sure why it's not showing that. And I said, I don't know either, right? So she says, well, drive up a little bit and I'm gonna have Jorge come out and he's gonna try to pump gas on his end and see what he gets. I said, okay, cool, that's fine with me. No worries. So I pull up and Jorge, obviously you can tell that he works at the gas station. He has his overalls like as a mechanic. And because at this gas station, there's like this mechanic shop that's like connected to the gas station. Jorge comes out and he's driving a beautiful, looks like a newer model Jeep Wrangler. Okay. I was like, boy, how did Jorge get that? If he's working at the gas station, none of my business. Okay. For all I know, Jorge, and that's the next lesson is don't judge people. Because for all I know, Jorge could own the gas station. I don't know. I shouldn't be judging Jorge based on just the vehicle that he's driving. Okay. So Jorge pulls up, he backs into the gas pump, and He puts the nozzle inside the gas pump, inside of the tank. And at that moment, I thought to myself, let me walk closer to this gentleman just in case he has the same experience that I have, but because he works for the gas station, right? Because he has on this quote unquote the other team's jersey, right? Because he has on someone else's jersey, I wouldn't want him to side with his employer, with his business. So I walk a little closer so I can actually look into his gas tank as he's looking into his gas tank. All right. So that's the third lesson. Okay. So now I'm subconsciously wondering like, man, is anyone out to get me? All right. Now keep in mind, I even this morning, this happened today. So even at the gas station, I was writing these affirmations, right? Be a better person, lead with power, be bold, right? And then my subconscious like, go a little closer to Jorge just in case Jorge is not telling the truth. Just think about that, all right? So I lean closer and he waits for the gas attendant to give a signal. He presses a button and then he begins to pull the trigger of the nozzle. Right. So now gas is pouring in. So yeah, so keep in mind what I said, gas is pouring in. So Jorge says, I don't know what's going on. Uh, I'm getting gas. You didn't get any gas? I said, no, I didn't get any gas at all. And he says, that's weird. You see, I have gas right here. And I say, yes, sir, I can see that you have gas, but for some reason, my car says that I don't have any gas at all. So, um, gas is dripping from his handle, right? He takes the nozzle out, gas drips a little bit onto into the side of the vehicle, right? And he says, well, let's get Julie in here and let's have Julie look. So Julie comes out and she says, did you get any gas? I'm now doing voice impressions, right? You get any gas? And so he's like, yeah, yeah, we got gas. So she says, well, I don't know. She says to me, I don't know what you have because maybe it's something wrong with your car. And I said, ma'am, maybe there is something wrong with my car. Let's say there's something wrong with my car, right? Um, the car is maybe a year and a half old, but let's say something's wrong with my car, right? So now I'm getting defensive, okay? Maybe something is wrong with my car. I said, but even if something is wrong with my car, I would have thought that when I took the nozzle out, there would have been some gas maybe dripping on the side of the car, just like it did on his vehicle. And also, when I put my finger inside of the tank itself, it's bone dry. And I said, if you want, you're more than likely to look into my gas tank, or look into, the gas tank the best you can, right? To see, but it's actually bone dry. And Mr. Jorge also saw that it's bone dry as well, right? So she says, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna argue. You know what? Fine, just pull up to the other tank, and I'm gonna go ahead and put $40 on that tank and just be done with it. So at that point, I'm like, okay. And in my mind, I'm over here, and in my mind, I say, you know what? This will be the last time that I come to this gas pump or to this gas station. I don't like how I've been treated. I'm making all these little declarations, right? I'm no longer gonna come here. I'm not gonna support this business. All these things, do, right? A laundry list of I'm not, I won't. Okay. So I pull up as she instructed. I get my notebook, okay? And I'm writing my notepad. So I'm writing on my notepad these power statements, okay? These affirmations about being a better person and leading with boldness and being a leader and having, fantastic integrity and wanting to be a better person, right? Oh, on and on and on. And I go ahead and hit the buttons on the pump. I put the pump, I put the pump or the nozzle, whatever, inside of my vehicle, and I pull the trigger. I pull the trigger, and it starts going. And so I'm like, well, I'm gonna be here a while. So I decide that I'm going to open the car's door and just turn the car on a little bit just to see, as this progression, right? And so turn the car on, and nothing's happening. Nothing's lighting up in the dashboard at all. And so I'm like, okay, no big deal. It's like, but at least I can smell gas. I can see that there's drips, right? You know, cool. Well, as I maybe make like a second lap around or, whatever, so kind of walk in circles, I hear a boom as in the pump stops. So I'm like, that's weird. I go and I look at the nozzle and I pull the trigger once more and boom, it stops. So at this point, I look at the spender or whatever, and it says $9.80. And immediately I thought to myself, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. My tank is full. I can't get any more gas into my tank. And the pump reads $9.80. At that moment, I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice. I could either put the pump up, close my tank, hop in the car, and drive off. Or I could be a better person, a better person, and put the pump up, walk in to the gas station, speak to the attendant, let her know that I was wrong, apologize, and then pay her or give her back $9.80. What do you think I did? Better yet, what would you have done? Like put it in the comments, put it in the chat. What would you have done? Would you have just been like, she was rude. Let me get you know what? Call those $9 calmer or whatever, right? So what I did is this. Without hesitation, I walked my bold but wrong tail into that gas station. I apologized and I attempted to pay $10, even though it was only $9.80. She only, charged me $9.80. She didn't take the 10. Because out of remorse, I was like, hey, I apologize. I was wrong, right? She wanted to laugh in my face, y'all. I'm so sick. She wanted to laugh in my face, but she didn't. And she said, "No worries, no problem. But thank you very much for coming in to pay. And I hope you have a I hope you have a good day." Yo, have you ever been so certain? And this is the final lesson. Have you ever been so certain about something in your life? Maybe the way that someone treated you, maybe whatever it could have been. It could be a lot of things. Maybe the way someone treated you, maybe you got in an argument with someone, maybe it was over a belief system, maybe it was over an experience that you had or that you thought you had, right? But you are so certain about what happened, like that you are so confident in you being right. Like it's almost as if someone says, "Hey, 2 plus 2 is 9." And you're like, "No, 2 plus 2 is 4." And I know it's 4. It's always been 4. I was confident, guys. I was so confident that my dashboard was correct. And you know what's crazy about this? There are times in life where your dashboard is not correct. There are times in life where your indicators are wrong. There are times in life where you think you're right about something, you have maybe even convinced other people. Yo, literally, I went to other pumps and I shared my negative experience with other people who weren't even involved in the situation at all. I went to third parties and shared my negative, what assumed to be a negative experience, by the way, a presumed negative experience. I was so quick to share my negative experience with other people when that was never the case. There was nothing wrong with the attendant. There was nothing wrong with Mr. Wan. There was nothing wrong with the pump. There was nothing wrong with the gasoline. The issue was solely in the vehicle that I was in. And here's the key. Sometimes we have misinformation, and it has more to do with the lack of awareness, aka notifications on the dashboard. And sometimes it has to do with the wrong vehicle. So my question to you is, whatever you're doing, whatever tree you're barking up, whatever path you're going down, whatever business that you're doing, whatever venture, whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing today, or whatever you've been doing for the last couple of weeks, could it be that your notifications are wrong? Is your dashboard wrong? Are your indicators off? Do you need a reset? Because I sure as heck did. I was wrong, like dead wrong. I was so wrong that as I walked back to the attendant, walking across, right, to go towards the door, I felt as if I was a dog with its tail in between his legs. That's how wrong. I felt so wrong that I even felt naked. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so ashamed that I took this lady out of her daily routine. She had to go extra steps. She had to convince someone working at the job to come on over here and check out a pump, all because I had the wrong indicators, all because I was wrong. And you know what's crazy is that she mentioned that it could have been something wrong with my vehicle, but I wasn't open to feedback. I wasn't open to her feedback. I was like, how can that be? The car was purchased brand new, and it's only been a year and a half. I wasn't open to any feedback. It can't be my car. What do you mean? It's got to be your pump. It's got to be something wrong. It has to be something wrong with the product that you're giving me. No, there was nothing wrong with the product. There was nothing wrong with the process. What was wrong were my indicators. What was wrong was the vehicle. So I want to encourage you today that you may be or you may have the wrong vehicle. You may be in the wrong vehicle. You may have indicators or notifications that are sending you down the wrong path. And it reminds me of I had hired a mentor, like a business coach, right? And the coach said this, and it's true, although a lot of us don't want to admit it. And here's what he said to me. He said, Leland, all things work. I'm like, mm. He's like, no, all things work. It's just whether or not you either want to stick with it long enough for it to work, or whether or not you're the person that's aligned for it to work. But all things work. Because even if it doesn't work externally, at the least what it's doing is that it's working on you. So like for example, there are times where I might say to someone in a session, well, yeah, why don't you just go ahead and send, 5 emails to all of your prospects, right? Emails in themselves work. Messaging and communication works. But if you send 1 email or 2 emails, right, to those people and you don't get the result, well, you didn't send 5. But even if you did send 5 and you don't get the result that you want, that process is still actually working on you because now you're going to be more bold to send a 6th or 7th or 8th, right? What he was telling me was that all these things work. It all works. The question is it something that is working on you? And is it working fast enough for the rate that you want? I was told a couple days ago that the price that you pay for success is something that you pay only once. However, The price that you pay for failure is something that you pay for a lifetime. Food for thought. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you've ever been wrong about something. Let me know if you ever had the wrong vehicle, the wrong dashboard, the wrong notifications. See you in the next one. Peace.